Hello everyone, welcome back to Empirics, and in today's video we are going through passage 3 of September 16, test 2. So the passage is about how to make wise decisions. Let's get started. As usual, I'm going to read the passage and then deal with the questions. And read the paragraph and then deal with the questions. Okay. Across cultures, wisdom has been considered one of the most revered human qualities, yeah? Although the truly wise may seem few and far between, empirical research, like the real data, evidence examining wisdom, suggests that it isn't an exceptional trait possessed by a small handful of bearded philosophers after all. It isn't something that is unique, and the paragraph is trying to say. In fact, the latest study suggests that the most of us have the ability to make wise decisions given the right context, yeah? In the right context, we can all make wise decisions, but it only depends on the situation, yeah. Okay. Wisdom appears to be unique to human race. Nah, it's actually false. It's that it's not exceptional. It's not an exception, yeah. A basic assumption about wisdom may be wrong. Of course, the answer is B. Why is it B? Across cultures, wisdom has been considered one of the most revered human qualities, like very unique and very, very valued human qualities. But empirical research is saying it's not an exception. So the wisdom can be wrong. Concepts of wisdom may depend on the society we belong to. No, there is still too much discovered. No, they're not given. The answer is going to be B. Okay, let's continue. We've got a set of multiple choice questions, and then we have summary completion, and then we have yes or no given questions. Okay, cool, cool, cool. Let me go through them real quick. The characteristics of wise reasoning, Igor Crossman and his colleagues. Okay, okay, cool, cool. I got the idea. Next one. Student participating in the job prospect experiment could choose one of the two perspectives to take. Okay, I got the main idea about the questions. Let's continue reading. It appears that experiential, yeah, situational and cultural factors are even more powerful in shaping wisdom than previously imagined, says Associate Professor Igor Grossman of the University of this one. Recent empirical findings from cognitive development, social, and personality psychology cumulatively suggest that people's ability to reason wisely varies dramatically across experiential and situational context. Like it depends on the context as to how you can make wise decisions. Understanding the role of such contextual factors offers unique insights into understanding wisdom in daily life, as well as how it can be enhanced and taught. Okay. What does Igor Grossman suggest about the ability to make wise decisions? It can vary greatly from one person to another. No, that's not given. Early research into it was based on unreliable data. No. The importance of the influence was it was the one more time. The importance of certain influences on it was underestimated. On the ability to make was it was underestimated. Was it the case? Mm-hmm. It appears the exceptional experiential situational culture are even more powerful than previously imagined. In the past, it was thought that they are not really important, but now they are important. So the answer for the question 28 is going to be C, because the important sort of influences is experiential, situational, and cultural factors. Underestimated means are even more powerful in shaping wisdom than previously imagined. In the past, it was thought it was not really important, but now they are really important in according to case studies. Yeah. Next one. Um, Paragraph third. It seems that it's not so much that people simply possess wisdom and others lack it, but that our ability to reason wisely depends on a variety of external factors. It's impossible to characterize processes, thought processes attributed to wisdom without considering the role of contextual factors. Explains Grossman. In other words, wisdom is not solely an inner quality, but rather unfolds as a function of situations people happen to be in. Some situations are more likely to promote wisdom than others. Okay. Paragraph 3. Grossman claims that the level of wisdom an individual shows can be greater than they think. I don't think that's the answer. There was not really any information about this fact. Will be different in different circumstances. That's a good one. Let's leave it. We'll come back to it later. Maybe determined by particular aspects of their personality. No, no, no. It's that it's impossible to characterize thought processes attributed to wisdom without considering the role of contextual factors. Should develop over time as a result of their life experiences. Mm-hmm. That's not only about the level of wisdom. Like it said inner quality, but rather unfolds as a function of situations people happen to be in. That's not saying it will develop over time as a result of life experiences. That's not really given. Will be different in different circumstances. That's the answer, and let me explain why. Because here it said, in other words, wisdom is not solely an inequality, but rather unfolds as a function of situations people happen to be in. Some situations are more likely to promote wisdom than others. Yeah, will be different in different circumstances. That's the point. What is described in the fifth paragraph? Let's give a quick look here as well. Mm-hmm. Not yet, still. Let's continue. One, two, three, four. Coming up with a definition of wisdom is challenging, but Grossman and his colleagues have identified four key characteristics as a part of a framework of wise reasoning. One is intellectual humility, or recognition of the limits of our knowledge. And another is appreciation of perspectives wider than the issue at hand. Sensitivity to the possibility of change in social relations is also key. Showing some sensitivity, being a bit, it's emotional, yeah, along with the compromise or integration of different attitudes and beliefs. So let's give a quick look here. As to make wise decisions, it's important to have a certain degree of opinions, no. Confidence, no. View, no. Modesty. Can we say modesty? Yeah. Humility, modesty. I believe the answer for the question 31 is going to be modesty regarding the extent of our knowledge and take into account our limits, yeah? Objectivity, experience, range, and reasons. No, 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 that's not the case, yeah. Another appreciation, no, perspectives. Perspectives, appreciation of perspectives. Taking into account opinions. Can we say opinions? Perspectives. Of course, yeah. The answer is going to be A, opinions. Perspectives, yeah. Acknowledging that there are other opinions than just ours, and because theirs might be different. Of course, it can be different, yeah. And we should also be able to take a broad something and broad what? Sensitivity to the possibility of a change in social life is also key, uh, along with the compromise and integration of different attitudes in life. Okay, so opinions is out. Confidence is take a bit of confidence. No. View. Take a view. Take it. Okay. Take a broad view of any situation. So now let me explain why the answer 33 is C. So here it's saying sensitivity to the possibility of change in social relations is also key, along with the compromise or integration of different attitudes and beliefs. You have to take a broad view of any situation because they might change at any time, yeah? And they might come with, compromise and or integration of different attitudes and beliefs. That's why take a broad view. That's what the text is trying to say us. And let's continue. Grossman and his colleagues have also found that one of the most reliable ways to support wisdom in our own day-to-day decisions is to look at scenarios from a third-party perspective, as though, yeah, as if giving advice to a friend. Uh-huh. And the next one, research suggests that when adopting a first-person viewpoint, we focus on the focal, it's local, I think, local features of the environment. Uh, and when we adopt the third person observer viewpoint, we reason more broadly and focus more on interpersonal and moral ideas such as justice and impartiality. Looking at problems uh, from this more expansive viewpoint appears to foster cognitive processes related to wise decisions. Okay, now let's go through the questions. Grossman also believes that it's better to regard scenarios with, let me remove this one. This one's out. These out as well. Okay. Confidence. It's better to regard scenarios with confidence. No, it was like observer, to justice and morality, impartiality, yeah. Objectivity, fairness, of course. So the answer for the question 34 is gonna be fairness. I don't know. Just a second. Objectivity as well. I was thinking about putting I mean G to the question 35 because look at here. Um, here it's saying first person perspective. I was looking at the third person perspective. That's not really the point. And other more ideas which turn to, okay, one more time. Grossman's believe it's better to regard scenarios with something. Okay, found that one of the most reliable ways to support wisdom in our day-to-day decisions is to look at scenarios from a third-party perspective, as though giving advice to friends. Research suggested that when adopting a first-person viewpoint, we focus on the local features of the environment, and when we adopt a third-person, local features of the environment, like we are not gonna we're not gonna be biased, we're not gonna be one-sided, yeah. And when we adopt a third-person observer viewpoint, we reason more broadly, focus more on interpersonal and moral ideals. So that's like objectivity. Objectivity is like doing something based on facts, yeah? Based on something that is already existing. And local feature of the environment is like objectivity, what we call, yeah? And the question 35 is going to be G. And let's continue. We have true, false, not given questions here. By the way, we had this 30th question. What is described in the fifth paragraph? A difficulty encountered when attempting to reason wisely? No, that's not the answer. An example of a type of person who is likely to reason wisely? No. A controversial, a debatable view about the benefits of reasoning wisely? Mm-hmm. It's not really the answer. A recommended strategy that can help people to reason wisely. Yeah, a recommended strategy was a third person observer. Yeah. So the answer was D. Now let's focus on true, false, not even questions. What are we due to do then when confronted with a situation like disagreement with a spouse, or negotiating a contract at work that require us to take a personal stake? Gossman argues that even when we aren't able to change the situation, we can still evaluate these experiences from different perspectives. For example, in one experiment that took place during the peak of a recent economic crisis, yeah, graduating college seniors were asked to reflect on their job prospects. The students were instructed, and they were given instruction, you're gonna do this one and this one. To imagine their career either as if you were a distant observer or before your own eyes, as if you were right there. Participants in the group assigned to the distant observer. They had been assigned it, yeah? They had been given this instruction that you're gonna do the distant observer role, displayed more wisdom, related reasoning, intellectual humility, and recognition of change than the participants in the control group. Okay, Students participating in the job prospects could choose one of the two perspectives to take. No, they couldn't choose. They were assigned, they were instructed. The answer is going to be false. Yeah, it's coming from here. But in the group are assigned, yeah? They were instructed to imagine. Next one, participate in the couples experiment. Nothing about couples experiments. Next one. Another study, couples. We got it. Okay. Couples in the long-term romantic relationships were instructed to visualize an unresolved relationship conflict either through the eyes of an outsider or from their own perspective. Participants in the discussed incident uh, with their partner for 10 minutes. They discussed the accident with their partner for 10 minutes, after which they wrote down their thoughts about it. Couples in others' eyes condition were significantly more likely to rely on wise reasoning, recognizing others' perspectives and searching for a compromise, compared to the couples in the egocentric condition. So, participants in the couples experience were aware that they were taking part in a study about wise reasoning. That like did the passage tell about their awareness of participating? I don't think so. It's not given. Next one, in the couples experiment, the length of the couples relationship was had an impact on the results. No, no, it's not given. So, in both experiments, the participants who looked at the situation from a more detached viewpoint tended to make wiser decisions. Detached viewpoints basically means, yeah, separate, like not considering other perspectives, yeah, separate. So, this an observer, intellectual humility, change. We have to, compare these two. In the couples experiment, in both experiments, the participant who looked at the situation from a more detached viewpoint tended to make wiser decisions. Okay, participant in the group assigned to this an observer displayed more wisdom related reasoning. This an observer is like detached viewpoint, yeah. So first is done. They did a pretty good job with wise reasoning. What about this couple ones? Couples in other side condition were significantly more likely to rely on a wise reasoning, recognizing other perspectives and searching for a compromise, compared to the couples in the egocentric condition. They all had wiser decisions because they had others' eyes, this detached viewpoint. You're not gonna be biased. You're not gonna look from your perspective, but from others' perspective. And here as well, they used the distant observer perspective, which was detached viewpoint, and it included intellectual humility and recognition of change, not being biased again, yeah, one-sided. So the answer for this one is gonna be true. So the last one. Ego decentering, yeah, promotes greater focus on others and enables a bigger picture, conceptual view of the experience, affording recognition of intellectual humility and change, says Grossman. We might associate wisdom with intelligence or particular personality traits, but the research shows only a small positive relation between wise thinking and crystallized intelligence and the personality traits of openness and agreeableness. It's remarkable how much people can vary in their vision from one situation to the next, and how much stronger such contextual effects are for understanding the relationship between wise judgment and its social and effective outcomes as compared to the generalized traits, Grossman explains. That is, knowing how wisely a person behaves in a given situation is more informative for understanding their emotions or likelihood to forgive or retaliate. Retaliate is like to revenge, to hit back, as compared to knowing whether the person may be wise in general. Okay, Grossman believes that person wisdom is determined by their intelligence to only a very limited extent. Ularni o'sha odam aqlliligi wise decisionga yoki wisdomini aniqlashga yordam bermaydi deyapti. Aytyapti bu yerda. But there's only a small positive relation between wise thinking and crystal intelligence bu topilgan. Judayam bir kichkina relationship bor, connection bor o'sha intelligence bilan wisdom o'rtasida. Javob bizda true bo'lyapti ekan. So the passage 3 was a bit, how to say, exhausting. That was actually a good one. So we did a pretty good job with the passage itself. I hope you all learned something new. So see you all guys in our next videos.